1 second, guys. We're going to go live here in a sec. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Cynthia. Well, I have it. It's just, where is it? Oh, it's still back there, but it was just leaning there. I have I had it on another wall in my office. I was just experimenting with putting it behind me instead. All right, guys, what's going on here? This reverse carry trade in Japan is unfolding. Might be causing some economic meltdown around the world. We saw a big dump leading up to it. We might have a little bit of a recovery right now, but I'm not so sure it's over with yet. And not really much has changed since Wednesday's call. As we did come down a little further. Don't get me wrong. This is XRP, and if you look, hold on 1 second here. We actually broke this double bottom that I was thinking we might bounce on, and we wicked right down to the bottom of this channel, right where I had the circles. This is where I thought we were going to come. It's to that one. But we did wick down to that one, and we are currently pumping back up above that level, which could be a good sign. Do I have this downward trending support in the right spot? Was it possible we hit it? I don't think so. I think we we came close. So it is possible that we could continue down further. See this big droopy waterfall cascading drop right here. I am on the daily time frame. So this is bowing down like this. But what we need is this candle or the next couple candles to make a higher high, generally getting back above this line at the $1.94 range, which was this support. So in order for this to be kind of breaking out of that channel, otherwise it'll go up. It could go up to that line and then bounce and then have a lower low, and that would just be a continuation of this curve in effect here. So guys, in my opinion, anything under $2 for XRP is a steal. And just imagine if you can go back and buy Bitcoin at $2, $3, $5, $10.
So Nico, question for you on XRP. Obviously they're kind of through their testing phase, I would say, and now they're in their consolidation. Consolidation meaning institutions are accumulating for the switch. Now, when that switch happens, whether it's tomorrow, 6 months, whatever it is, and we've pulled our monies off of Coinbase and our other platforms and have them on a cold wallet, and we see this drastic price increase, how do we, we're going to hold for, however long. How is it that we re-enter, back on an exchange without them stealing it? Because we took it off so they won't potentially steal it, but then we got to put it back on to either sell a little bit or borrow against it or whatever we can do down the road. Can you give us a little insight on how all that's going to work? If we get to 1,000 or 10,000 XRP, how is that going to work?
Yeah. Guys, if you have 10,000 XRP and XRP goes to $10,000, I mean, you got different problems now.
I got way more than that.
Yeah, me too. But And by the way, can XRP go to $10,000? A lot of people think that's impossible because of market cap, but it's not impossible. We're talking about quadrillions of dollars worth of settlements on a daily basis. If you compare XRP to dividend like a stock or derivatives or whatever, then yeah, market cap makes sense. There's billions of XRP out there, so in order for the price to be $10,000, the market cap would have to be $100 trillion. Or 500 trillion, which is more than all the money in the world. It's impossible. That's what people say, but it's not based on that. It's based on the amount of money around the world that the price needs to be in order for it to handle the settlements for the money. It's not a derivative. Let me see if I can find something real quick for you to explain it. I think I posted a video, but to answer your question, I think I did post a video in the chat with a young lady that was explaining a lot. Now that video is like 10 minutes, 15 minutes long, so there's a lot more to it. I can share that or send you a link to it. She might be someone you want to follow. She's an economist and understands how things work. But let me see if I can find this, because when you hear like Garlington and the people in, behind Ripple and XRP talk about it, it makes a lot more sense. But what I would do is, first of all, you still need exchanges, guys. So the exchanges are there for you to liquidate. Like if you need to sell or loan or stake or any of that stuff, the exchanges are not going to steal your crypto. And most specifically, guys, I don't think Coinbase just had a big live session with like 4 million viewers the other day. I think I shared the link in the group. I don't know if you guys caught that on their X, Twitter channel, but they got big plans. I mean, they're trying to be the biggest crypto bank in the world. Now, yes, they are custodians for your crypto. Yes, they're the ones that have your keys, your private keys. Yes, they can block you and lock you out of your account if you do something, but not for no reason. And no one's I don't think anybody's gonna steal your crypto. So what can happen is, if there is a liquidity crunch, a liquidity issue, like happened on Binance basically liquidated about, I don't know what it was, a couple $1 billion worth of XRP just the other day. $1.2 billion worth of XRP disappeared from the Binance platform because of the demand. So there will be a liquidity issue where there won't be enough. Now you might say, how's that possible? There's billions and billions. Because when institutions start buying it by the billions and the hundreds of millions, they're going to have to eventually start going to the retail market. And that's when price appreciates. If you were a multimillionaire or a billionaire and you went to one of Sotheby's auctions, for instance, and you wanted to buy a Rembrandt that was being auctioned off for $100 million, where was that Rembrandt before it went up for sale? It was not available to anybody because it was in a museum or it was in some private residence. It was sitting in a castle somewhere or in some other billionaire's safe. When they decide to sell it, they put it up for auction. And hundreds of thousands of people come out of the woodwork with hundreds of millions of dollars to buy that thing. And then it goes off market again. It's no longer available to the public. It's out of sight, out of mind. No one even knows where it's at. But when it comes available again, it's $20 million more, $100 million more the next time it goes for sale. Right? So when you take your crypto off an exchange, it's not on the chain exchange anymore. They don't see it anymore. It's in your private wallet. And that doesn't change the value. The values continue to go up, go up, go up, go up. And then your crypto is still in demand. Somebody wants it, right? And so if you ever decide you want to sell it, there's plenty of ways to do that. You can either do it on a centralized exchange or decentralized exchange, like a Phemex, for instance, or other decentralized exchanges. Hot wallets, things like that. You don't have to transfer it back to Coinbase. You could transfer it to your hot wallet and convert it there to something else if you want, or you can buy something privately with it for someone who wants your XRP, who has something you want. For instance, a yacht. You got $100 million with XRP. You want this guy's boat. He has it for sale. You ask him if he will accept XRP. He says, yes, of course. I can't get that shit anywhere else. And then you just get some lawyers involved and you come up with an agreement, and he hands you the deed at the same time you're transferring the XRP, something like that, or it goes into custodian first. And the other option, Robert, is there are private offices out there like the Jake Clavers of the world that have other institutional grade um, holding companies that will set up proper trust and entities for you. You still have your keys. They're staking on your behalf. You're kind of setting up an account with them, kind of like, whereas no one can withdraw from it without your permission or your access or your signatures. But at the same time, they put it to work where they're lending it on the to the liquidity pools and to the institutions, and you're getting a dividend paid out. So you got $100 million with XRP instead of selling it and maybe getting a capital gains tax. And not only that, but diminishing the quantity of XRP you have, and the value continues to go up over time. You don't want to do that. So what do? You borrow against it, or you put it to work. You take that asset and you lend it out or put it in liquidity pools where it's needed by the institutions and the retail networks, and they pay you for it. Like 5% a year or 6% a year. So you do the math. If you had and I'm saying 100 million because some of you might not think you ever will have $100 million worth, but it's not really that far off. Just imagine if you would have bought 10,000 Bitcoins when it was $2 for 20 grand, you would have $100 million worth right now. You would have $1 billion worth right now. So it does happen to people, and you might say, yeah, but it's too late. Yeah, it is if you didn't do that when Bitcoin was that price, but it's not too late for XRP. It is one of the last frontiers, guys, for the regular person to front run the institutions and the banks. This is one of the last opportunities we will ever get. You are here at the right time, in my opinion, for this to happen. So 5% of 100 million is 5 million a year, and you could get that paid monthly, which is 400,000 a month. Can you live off that? Can you do whatever you want for the rest of your life on 400,000 a month? I believe so.
And XRP and XLM are merging together as well. So
Yeah, there's a lot going on, guys. I mean, it is crazy and how fast it's happening now. Some people might think it's slow, but it's actually happening pretty fast behind the scenes. And there's a lot getting in line for this to happen. Now, I'm not making any kind of promises publicly like a Jake Claver. He goes out there and talks about $750 XRP by the end of this year, which is like 2 weeks. That I don't believe that. Can it happen? Sure, I guess it's possible, but will it? I would say first quarter to the middle of 2026 is when we could be up in the $100 plus range. But that could happen, but in January, for all I know, that could happen, that could happen very quickly if these switches are flipped like we're talking about. And that would be supply shock to the 10th degree. Imagine waking up one morning and your XRP has 100x overnight. And that is exactly how it would happen, guys. I mean, this has happened before. We've seen this happen before. Go back and look at the charts on TradingView for Bitcoin when Bitcoin was 1 penny or $1. Just go look how we had parabolic moves to the upside where it went up to like, $37, like within a day or two, 37x or 300x from, 10 cents to $30. I mean, it happens. It happens. It can happen. We've seen it. Go ahead.
Did you go with a different attorney? I'm assuming you've set up a trust and you've done a corporation, and I'm looking at, I'm in no hurry if it's 3 more years, for XRP to, and some of these others that I have to take off. A dear friend of mutual of ours, I think International Diamond, Keith passed away Wednesday night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he's only in his 60s, and I look at it from my personal standpoint. I'm 60, 3 more years and I'm done. I want to live my life,
Yeah, and this is why I also preach about health and fitness, guys, because you got to be around to enjoy this. I was at the grocery store the other night, and there's a guy in line behind me, and I had a pint of Haagen-Dazs Rocky Road ice cream on my thing, and he goes, "Oh my God, I tried that the other day. It was the best ice cream I ever had. And I think it put me into a diabetic state. I'm pre-diabetic." And I told him, I said, listen, I do this very rarely now. I went 1 year strict carnivore. I lost 70 pounds. My blood pressure went from 150 over 100 down to, 118 over 80, went down to ideal, optimal. My triglycerides dropped from 300 down to 60. Everything got perfect. My skin, my hair, everything got better. And just from cutting out carbs and sugar. And I tell them I was pre-diabetic. I got rid of that. I'm not even close. I'm like in the healthiest I've ever been now. But every once in a while, my craving, don't get me wrong, we're all addicted to something. I love sugar, but I went a year without touching one speck of it. I literally cut it out totally. And then I said, after losing 70 pounds and getting down to almost my ideal body weight, I said, let me try. Let me just see if I'm going to have a reaction. So now I have maybe a pint of Rocky Road, which is my indulgent. I have that maybe once or twice a month. And I actually wake up the next morning just as light or lighter than I was, because when I know I'm going to have it, I have maybe one meal that day. I have one New York strip the whole day, or I just have bacon and eggs at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then later I have ice cream. I don't have anything else. So I cut my calories that day just so I can have that. But my point is that if you guys are planning on getting rich, you need to also take care of yourself so that you can enjoy it, because you will give every dime back to get healthy again. Like if you get $100 million and all of a sudden you have some disease or you're sick, you will pay all of that money to feel good again and to feel healthy again. So might as well concurrently, at the same time that we're doing all this and while you're waiting for these big catastrophic moves to happen, start, taking care of yourself. Now that's just my opinion. You don't have to do any of that stuff. I know most people would like to, but
so XRP sooner or later is going to get pulled from the exchanges, correct?
it could.
It could. What happens if we're in a long trade for months, and that happens?
Are you trading on an exchange?
Yeah, Phemex.
Well, Phemex will warn you first. They'll tell you on December 14th, this coin will be delisted. Yesterday, I actually had a little scare on Phemex. I went to withdraw XRP, and it said withdrawals are suspended. And I thought maybe there was a glitch or something, and I went and checked Bitcoin. Everything was working perfectly except for XRP. I was like, uh-oh, maybe they know something about to happen. I was like, it's getting ready. I was getting excited for a second there, but then it was I just refreshed and it worked. So, but every once in a while, these glitches happen, guys, where XRP will show up as $26,000 on an exchange for one XRP. I don't know if you guys have seen this or heard of it, but for a brief moment, XRP will show a super high price on Binance or on one of these exchanges, and it'll go back to normal on Chinese platforms and stuff, and on some of these other Asian markets. And what they're thinking that's happening is there's kind of a glitch on the different ledgers and on the different. They might be testing stuff, they might be working on stuff, but guys, it's a sign of something. It's that there ain't no other coin that's doing that. That's showing these different weird prices. I'm sorry, go
Nico,
ahead.
this is Steven. Shalom. To Shavua Tov. Happy Hanukkah for everybody that might be Jewish here.
Same to you, bud.
Thank you. Yesterday, I saw that there was a break in, I believe it was either Ether or Zeke, but one of them I was watching, and there was like a whole missing candle. Did you notice any of that?
Are you on, was it on your phone or on a computer desktop?
No, it was on the computer. I'm on Phemex, just like you are.
Do you know which coin it was or what chart it was and the time frame?
It was on the 1 hour, and I want to believe it was either I popped over to XRP or it might have been Zeke or yeah.
This is Ethereum right here. I don't see any, but
right
I've seen that happen. I'm sorry.
Do you see it? Do you see the break?
No. Or in here somewhere?
It's right. Yeah. Go back to where the downturn is.
Right here?
Can you take a screenshot of it with the guy who's talking about this?
This is ETH on the 1 hour. We got a nice W happening here, guys. That's positive. And not only that, but it came right up even to the other side. So this is not only a W, but we have a bull flag forming on this side of it. And we could have a breakout here. And where would that take us? Probably right up to the top of this upward trending previous resistance that we fell from, right where it meets that downward trending resistance. And so I think we got a little pump coming going into the weekend. I don't see any missing candles here. So might refresh your chart. Maybe also look up here on your chart. Are you on mark price or last price? Let me go to last price and see if it shows there. No, I don't see it there. Because sometimes last price will show you much bigger wicks and much more volatile moves. Let me go to
Right.
XRP.
No, I stay on market.
Okay. Let me look at XRP. I don't see any breaks, but I have seen it before. I've seen that happen before. That, if you go over to, let me show you this. If you go over to Trading View,
I've never seen it on the PC. I've seen it on the phone apps before. What do we get the total market cap? Total. Type in
Or
total.
or are we looking at the CME?
BTC on futures. Just BTC, the first one.
So this is the CME, and normally, let me go down to a lower time frame. I don't see. There's a
one
gap.
there.
Is that the gap you're talking about? There it is. And we filled this gap already. This is called the CME gap. Stephen, are you still with me? Is that what you're talking about? That's probably the one.
Yes.
So you might be on the
one.
CME. You might be on CME futures because you don't see normally you don't see gaps unless you're on the CME. But that's called a CME gap, and we did fill it. We filled it right here. Boom. So whenever there's a gap like this, from here to where it starts back up again, we usually fill it 80% of the time. So whenever you see something like that, it's going to come back up and fill it. The question is when. So this one did it right away. But let's look at some gaps that haven't been filled yet. I think there's one still down here. Did we fill this one? This one, there's one right there. We filled it right here, and we filled it again here. No big deal there. Let's go back a little further. Let's go to the daily, because there's still one, I think, down here. I think we did fill that one eventually, didn't we? This is the one we were waiting to fill. No, was that the one at the 90? Yeah, this is the one. There was one here, guys, at 90,000. I posted about it. We talked about it a few weeks ago, where to this point, it went all the way up to new all-time highs, and we never filled this gap. So we were talking about it coming down to fill it, and it did. It came right down, boom, filled it right here, bounced up, filled it right there, and then we dropped further. And so that gap is filled. But we do have one, like the one you were just talking about, but that was filled as well. So as of right now, there's no gaps to be filled. Unless there's
But is that when there is that gap, what, and there's there's a past gap and there's a new gap, what's that telling us?
Bill, you want to answer that? You know more about it.
When there's a gap like that, price wants to return to that area. It's an inefficiency in the market, and the market wants to be efficient. That's where the regular market closed on Friday, and over the weekend, we ran the price up. And since they're the biggest portion of the market, us running the price up is a pretty big inefficiency. The market wanting to be efficient will come back down to that price. That also happened to be the 50 on the Fibonacci. That was that one he just circled was a great trade. That was like 1,000+%. It was fantastic. So those are something you want to look for. They fill in 70, 80% of the time.
Yeah. But you got to be on this chart to see it, which is the CME. So I'm not sure how you saw it on a regular Phemex chart, but because normally you wouldn't. If I went back over to
Yeah,
Phemex,
it was like, it was, the ticker was counting down on the 1 hour, and then all of a sudden it popped over and it left a gap, and I'm going, oh, what does that mean?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, always take a note when
because
you see
that
gaps.
has to be a telltale sign of something.
Yeah, always notice the gaps and just realize that the price will come back. Usually it comes back relatively quickly to fill that gap. But if it doesn't and it keeps going away from, then eventually over time it will come back down to that level or up,
Right.
or up to that level.
So can you give us your thoughts about all the sideways crazy stuff that's going on with all of the coins
Yeah.
that we trade?
Yeah, we are range bound right now. I mean, we are going down slowly from the top, obviously. We've been in a bearish type of market for, well, since the all-time high of Bitcoin at 126. But as you can see, we're in a sideways range also. But let's just look at the most recent downward trending channel here. Breakthrough, retest, 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 support, resistance. So this is a channel, and this is Bitcoin on the 1 hour. We're waiting to break out. But the top of this channel, take this line up to here, take it up to here, take it up to here. That's the top of Bitcoin. That's the highest we've ever been, 126. And we've been slowly having lower highs all the way down. And we are still hitting that as resistance. So until we break through that, we are now hitting a floor. And then that floor is holding and holding and holding. And the ceiling is holding, 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 holding. This is called an apex. We are winding into it. This is a trade setup, guys. And this is a breakout imminent situation. Imminent because there's nowhere to go. It's winding into this tight little wedge. And usually what happens there is when you wind up a spring really tight and it finally breaks, what is this bottom line that I'm showing you? This is a previous support level going all the way back to 2024 in March when we hit 73.8 right here. It's kind of upwards trending at the moment. If I really adjust this, if I really want to adjust that, it looks like we might have just wicked to it here. We may not have touched it. If I touch all of these perfectly where I think it should be, boom, 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 resistance, support, 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 then we might have a little bit of space left. But if we break out to the upside from where it's at now, we need to get above this high. Well, first this high. And so usually when there's a breakout, guys, you want it to retest. So it would break this line, would be the first time in a long time since 126. Every time it hits it, we go down a little further. Hit it, go down a little further. This time we did not go further yet. Okay, we hit it here. We have a higher low, and we even have a higher low. And then we're still hitting it. And usually the more, whatever line it's banging on the most is the one that's most likely to break. So we've had one touch point here. But we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Bam, 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 bam. It's banging on the ceiling. So just imagine I like to give analogies, obviously, but we have a ceiling and we have another ceiling after that. So it's kind of like the ceiling in your house. If you broke through the ceiling in your house, you jumped on a trampoline in your living room and you went high enough where your head went through the ceiling, you would now be in your attic. But there would be another ceiling above you, which is the bottom of the roof of your house, right? So we break through a ceiling. This is the downward trending ceiling. This is the floor. We break through the ceiling. That's great. We might hold as support, retest, or confirmation is what it's called. And then we bounce, and then we hit the other ceiling, which is the next ceiling up, which is the attic ceiling, which is this resistance level. If we get through that and we hold the support, we're free. We're in the air. We have a much higher move now because the next ceiling is the next lower high resistance level. All of these levels that we got to get through now on the way up. This one, this one, this one. So we have a lot of work to do to get up there, to get back up there. And then this one, what is this? This is the overall upward trending resistance line going all the way back to the previous bull market. That would probably come into play sooner or later. So this is a good example right here. So let's say we got up to the all-time high ceiling, got above that one, got up here, hit this all-time high ceiling, and we broke through. Boom, we have another ceiling right here. Boom, that's the attic ceiling. We would have to break through that. Now we could hit that, come back down. And if it's weak, if it's too weak and we can't get through it, we fall back down into the living room. And that's what's happened. We come up, here's the ceiling. Let's just look at what happened in the past. Hit the ceiling, break through the ceiling, but we can't hold on that ceiling. Here's the attic ceiling. We come back down in the living room. We hit it again. We come up and we finally hold as support. And then we come up and bam, and hit the attic ceiling. And then we're in the attic now. We're above the ceiling in the house, but we're in the attic. Boom. Keep hitting the attic ceiling. Boom. Hit the ceiling in the house, which is now the floor because you're in the attic. Boom. And then we can't get through the attic ceiling and we come right back down and fall right back down into the living room. We just can't get through that damn attic for some reason to break free, to move to a much higher high. So we got to do that. But when we're way down here, we're in the basement right now. And so now we got to get to the floor. We got to get through the floor, which is the new ceiling. The ceiling in the attic, the ceiling in the basement is the floor in the living room. Trying to put this in 5th grade terms here, but so all of these levels, guys, that's why when you see this and then this and then this and then retesting this and then dropping down to here and retesting this, it's never just a clean drop all the way down from top to bottom or from bottom to top. There's all these ups and downs in between, but when you really fractionalize it and look at every one of these, this pump up to here, down to here, up to here, we're hitting some kind of floor or ceiling. We break through. We hit another ceiling. What ceiling was this? I don't know. Let's just look over to the left. There it is. It was a floor. Then it became a ceiling. Then we hit it again. And then we broke through. And then we come down and hit it again as the floor. Boom. And then we hit the ceiling again and we break through, hit the other ceiling. So this just never ends, guys. Forever, as long as you live, this is what's going to happen. Now, the price might go up over time, and it will. We'll get to higher highs, but on the way up from this, $4,000 Bitcoin, we've had lots of highs, lows, higher highs, lows, higher highs. And that's just going to continue. So that's what we do in trading is we try to figure out where the support resistance levels are, which is these demand zones, these liquidity areas, these ceilings, these floors, these subfloors, these attic ceilings, depending on how you want to call it. And we just try to make the most educated guess based on the direction that it's going to go and where the next resistance level is based on what level it just broke through. And to put it in very, very, hopefully easy to understand terms. And so right here, where we're at right now, we are banging on a ceiling. Once again, we're banging on a ceiling, probably the floor of the living room. We're in the basement right now. And we came all the way down to the bottom and we're bouncing. So could we see another wick down? Yeah. We might not be done going down. But how much further is the question. And then when do we try to catch this on the way up? And everybody wants that crystal ball. Everybody has that wants that crystal ball answer, but I can't give you that answer because all I do is I'm reacting to what I'm seeing happen. Right now, we are in an apex. We are winding into it. This right here, this little curve also could turn into a inverted cup and handle. It might come back down and hit this again, which would be a nice double bottom and form a handle and then break to the downside, which would be an upside down cup and handle, which would bring us down to this level right here. Just so happens, you guys, when you really start to look at this, what price is this? Let's just look. It just so happens to exactly be the previous, not this high at 73.8, but this one, exactly 68K. Isn't that amazing how that works? Like, it really is that precise sometimes, guys. And it's just once you really see this, it's like the matrix. It's like finally you can see all through the matrix, and you can finally get it. That's why sometimes I remember many times in the past where I'll give a signal with a stop loss and a take profit target, and it hits the take profit target and barely wicks through it, and that's it. Triggers your take profit target and it's done. But how did you know where it was going to go? Well, I just look to the left, guys. I look at history. I look at where all the support and resistance levels are. And now sometimes it doesn't go straight there. Sometimes it comes down to here, consolidates a little, comes down a little further, consolidates like this. But we did call this. We did say it was coming down to this level, the 80K, several times. And before that, if you go to my YouTube channel, in fact, I think I want to show you this because I'm certainly not tooting my own horn, but I want to show you because it was kind of amazing that I can't remember which video it was, but maybe it was this one. But
ChatGPT, can I make money online?
let me just show you real quick here, guys, because it happened exactly right here. This is like a month ago. Bitcoin. And what I'm going to do is I am going to get rid of all these lines just to show you how you're going to find these types of trade setups. When you're new and you're just learning this for the first time, what you really should do is just notice I was short here. I was short here on this breakout because once we wicked all the way down on the 10th, October 10th, and came up and held support there and bounced and started to come down and started to, bounce on this line, inverted cup and handle, I went short and I was up. Right here it says $1,800 or something like that at the time, but it was about to do this. Wedge setup. What is a wedge setup? Well, you don't need all kinds of indicators on your chart. You don't need the MACD and the RSI and the volume. I don't have any of that. What you do is you look for resistance. Here is a downward trending resistance. We see a top, a lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Interesting. Now, if I draw a trend line here, we see what appears to be a falling wedge. You see a low, a lower low, and a lower low. It's bouncing on that. Now let's just come all the way over here and let's draw some support. We had some support and resistance going all the way back, but let's just do it right here for the time being. That was support right there at 107. We bounced on it and we went back up. So I'm just going to bring this over. And if you'll notice, guys, we have some support and resistance happening. So as we were falling down this wedge right here, the 112 zone, that was major support and resistance. And then we broke through and retested and then dropped all the way down to here. And now we're retesting this line right here. So that, as you can see, was support and is now resistance. Okay, so support resistance. Now, if we continue in this downward trending pattern, I'll just keep bringing this down all the way to right about there. There's a reason I'm going to bring it down to there, and I'm going to show you if I bring this down to here, what that means. So if I zoom out, I am on the 1 hour time frame, but what I want to show you guys is right about here, we had major support down here, right there, and that is at the 98,000 range. Let me just bring that forward, and I'm going to just leave that right there. As you can see, that is a possible support level. I'm going to go up to the daily time frame and just show you why I'm putting all my lines here and what I think is about to happen. So now if I do this, guys, I'm going to show you something. Before we start trading, what we do is we look for support and resistance levels. This is a resistance level going all the way back here to back in December of 2024 when we hit right here at 108K. We dropped down
to about 89, 90K, came back up to 109, and then we fell in what is called a falling wedge. I'm showing you this for a reason. When you understand how to draw support resistance lines on a chart, and you understand where support and resistance is, then you can just simply go up and mark this up. See where we came down to here? Boom. Let's just bring this all the way over. That was previous resistance. This was the all-time high at 73.8. We broke through it and we came down to retest 74.5, but we break out and we come up and we have a new all-time high at 112. So I'm going to draw a resistance line right there at 112. And then you can see we finally broke out and we retested 112. When we broke out, we had an all-time high of 123. We bounced on 112 at 124, bounced on 112, went through resistance, dropped down to 107, came back up, hit 112 as resistance, broke through, held as support, and then bounced again. And then went all the way up to 126 and then bounced again at 112. This was the big drop on October 10th that brought us all the way down to 1015 on Bitcoin. This was the big heist. We bounced above 112, but did not make a higher high, and then we dropped back below. So now we are coming back down to retest this level here. This is the major support and resistance level. And I will tell you this, guys, when you understand where to draw your support resistance lines, resistance, 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 breakout support, and boom, that will be retested soon. Okay, so I think we're going to this level down here at 98.5. As you can see, I'm in 3 open positions. I'm short Bitcoin on the Bitcoin margin, short Bitcoin on the USDT margin, and short XRP right now. I'm up about $1,800, and we're going to drop all the way down to the 97 and 98 range. But if you want to stop watching
Now, I show you that because that's exactly what happened. We did exactly that. We dropped right down to that 98 range right here. Boom. That was it. We bounced, but then we came through it. But so it's I can't tell you what's going to happen after that, but I know that we're going there. And so this is oh yeah, I'm still on the, by the way, I'm on the CME futures chart, so it looks a little different. Let me go back to crypto. But the point is that when are you going to be right all the time? No, but these levels get hit on a regular basis, and you go here. Oops, sorry. And this all it does really is it increases your, what the hell's going on here? It increases your likelihood, and that's all you can do is increase your likelihood and your percentage gain, your percentage of wins, right? So if you're winning more often than you're losing and your losses are smaller than your wins, then you are a consistently profitable trader. So back to what I was demonstrating here, and guys, go watch that again if you need to, but let's see, where am I here? I'm trying to get back to where I was. So here we are. That was this level right here, by the way, when we hit that. Boom. And we went through that. Now, one thing we didn't do is retest that yet as resistance. We hit it as support. We broke through. We come down to the next support. We bounce. Looks like we're creating a nice inverted cup and handle, and cup and handles do normally break to the downside. Inverted cup and handles normally break to the downside equal to the depth of the cup, which would bring us down to 68K, which is just happens to be the previous all-time high, and that would be probably a bottom. But there's something else happening here. We got major resistance and support at this little line right here, and because of that, this might be the 30% of the time when this inverted cup and handle doesn't break to the downside and instead breaks to the upside. And what would happen there is it would just bring us back up, probably. Let's see, depending on when it actually has its breakout. Let me just put this where it should be and get the distance. Oh, well, what do you know? Right back up to previous support as resistance. So it's not foolproof, guys. It's not 100% accurate all the time, but it's pretty damn close. And that's all you can do. That's what charting is. That's what price action is. That's what technical analysis is. And it doesn't really matter what anybody's saying out there. It doesn't matter what the experts are saying. And, you know, the gurus are talking about, oh, 250,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year or by January. It doesn't matter what they're saying. It's what's actually happening on the chart that matters. That's one thing that they don't seem to pay attention to, these guys. They just talk about the fundamentals and all the great things that are happening and Michael Saylor and all this stuff. And they probably have a lot at stake, guys. So think about this. All the people on CNBC and the news that are out there pumping Bitcoin and talking about Bitcoin and hyping Bitcoin, are they hedge fund managers? Probably. Are they running big Bitcoin ETFs? Probably. What do they want you to do? They want you to buy more Bitcoin in their ETFs and buy more Bitcoin so that the price goes up so that they can make more money. You know, it's advertising. Michael Saylor is on a world tour constantly for the last couple of years, not doing nothing but selling Bitcoin to the masses. Why? Because he's got so much invested, he needs it to go up. Nothing wrong with it, but I'm just saying that these guys benefit from everything they're saying, right? As long as you buy. If everyone stops buying and Bitcoin drops down to zero, billionaires lose billions. They don't want that, right? So what we do that's a little different than the masses, instead of going and buying, by the way, you ever see those memes where it's like there's a line of people in line to buy Bitcoin, and there's two checkout counters, or there's two clerks, and on one there's nobody in line and it's $1 per Bitcoin, and on the other one it's 100,000 per Bitcoin and there's 100 people in line? Because people instinctively don't buy when they should. They buy when the masses are buying. They buy when there's a feverish pitch. They buy when everyone else is buying. Same thing happened recently with gold. Gold gets up to $5,000, 4,900, new all-time highs, and gold sales were going through the roof. Everybody was going to buy gold. That's when you should be selling, not buying. People just do the opposite of what they should do.
It's a mindset, I think it is, when it's so low, it's hard to buy it, you know. And
yes, it's counterintuitive, guys. You need to be contrarian to the masses. It's counterintuitive because just listen to Warren Buffett, one of the richest guys on the planet when it comes to investing. And he's famous for saying, you get greedy when everyone's fearful. You get fearful when everyone's greedy. When there's blood in the streets, that's when you get greedy. When everybody is greedy, that's when you get fearful. And so what does he do? The market, stock market, everything hit an all-time high. S&P was 6,800. And what does he do? He goes 200 billion liquid. He sells everything almost. And he's got the biggest treasury of cash ever sitting there. Why? Because he's waiting to buy back in when everyone's fearful, when the market crashes. He knows what he's doing. Don't do what they say, do what they do. Okay. So, and now also Warren Buffett and Vanguard, guess what they're doing now? They have Bitcoin. They're investing billions into crypto technology and blockchain technology, which they said they never would do. You remember that when he was saying that Bitcoin is just the tulip scam and it was going to go down to zero, and it may go to 100 grand first, but it's going to go to zero. Well, now they're all pouring billions into it because they're not stupid. They realize what's happening. They have to invest where the money's at. And the technology is here. It is taking over. And so with that being said, guys, you're in a great position to learn this skill. That's why you're here, so that you can, even if you want to call it guessing, be right with your guesses more often. And because guessing would just be throwing a dart, looking at this chart like this, not understanding what's happening with no lines on it and saying, I think it's going down, so I'm just going to go short. But instead of that, you learn how to understand where the support resistance lines are and make more intelligence decisions. And instead of guessing that this is going to go down just because it's been trending down, say, well, this inverted cup and handle normally does break to the downside, but only when it's not up against major support. That's the 30% of the time when it could break to the upside. So rather than me shorting this right now, I'm going to wait for a breakout. I'm going to wait to see if it breaks to the downside first or the upside, because if it breaks to the upside of this downward trending channel, which it is due to happen, by the way, guys, let's just look. How much have we dropped so far since the top? Well, 35%. That is the average. That is usually what it takes. 32%. Look at that. Before a big drop. I mean, before a big pump. Look at this one. 33%. You see these pullbacks? Hit an all-time high, 33%, pump to a new all-time high. New all-time high, 33%, pump to a new all-time high. We're at 35% right now. When you look at all of these things, you're like, okay, what is really about to happen? I would almost bet if the only choice I had was to do what everyone else is doing or doing the opposite, I would say you will win more often just doing the opposite of what everybody else is going to do. You'll probably make a lot more money because the masses get it wrong more often than not, because it's counterintuitive to do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. But that's how the money is made. You get in, you get out at the pumps on the tops, and you get in at the dumps on the bottom. The question is, and people have been saying this, and probably all of you have said it in the past, is buy the dips. We've all heard that. But when is the dip? When does the dip stop dipping? When is it on that dip that you need to get in? That is the question. Yes, you should buy the dips, but when? This is a dip. Should you bought? This is a dip. Should you have bought? This is a dip. Should you be buying? Well, if you did buy here and then bought here and then bought here, and you're just hodling, that's called dollar cost averaging, and you're definitely lowering the price that you're paying for Bitcoin on the way down. But it could come down to here also, and if it breaks this level, guys, then it could come down to, 50K. It could come down to the next support level. And then that would be, we would just consider that bear market. No big deal. That's a good time to buy too. In fact, this buy right here, if you would have bought here at 15.5 Bitcoin, who would have thought that it would have went from 68K down to 15.5?
But Nico, wouldn't you say it's better just to wait to reconfirm a higher high and a lower higher low before you kind of re-enter?
Yeah.
Because right now, I mean, there's no saying whether we're going to break those support. I mean,
that's right.
If I had to guess, we're going to go up from here. That's my hope. But hope doesn't always turn into reality. So
that's why I always say that you should wait for not only the breakout, but also the confirmation, because and confirmation, guys, is just because a breakout can happen like this, where like this. Let me just give you an example. This could be considered a breakout where we went above it. Oh shit, it's breaking out. It's going up, and this candle just boom, it goes through this line, and people get excited. Oh, it's breaking out, but it just wicks right back down, and it stays under it. So a confirmation would be it breaks out, goes up, and then when it comes down, it stops right there. It bounces on the top. So it was hitting the ceiling. Now the ceiling's turning into the floor, and then it starts to go up, and it goes higher than where it broke out, and then it creates. And then it pulls back and creates a new floor at that level. That's when you should get in. That's what the institutions teach you how to do. If you were to go to OTA or one of these hedge fund schools, they would tell you to wait for that to happen first before you enter. But a lot of people just can't wait. They're sitting on their hands for hours or days waiting for an entry, and they think this breakout is all they need. But what could happen is it breaks out, and then it just falls right back down in the channel. So you should wait for the breakout and the confirmation. Yes. And so here we are down here. We're hitting this ceiling. We're hitting it. We're hitting it. We're hitting the floor. We're banging it, banging it, banging it. Finally, it comes up like this, and everybody's like, this is it. This is the breakout. And they go long, and then it just comes right back down into the channel, fakes them out, and goes down. So you got to wait for the breakout and the confirmation before it starts to climb. That's the right way to do it. Now, do I always do that? No. Sometimes, sometimes I take a gamble. Sometimes I go long, because I'm expecting it to go long. But usually when I do that and I give a signal, I tell you guys, I put a warning that this is risky because it didn't confirm yet. And I have a tight stop loss just in case I'm wrong. And that's the cool thing about what we do. You can take those little bit of a risk, expecting this to be the bounce and the breakout, just so long as you have a tight stop loss underneath the support in case you're wrong and you're willing to take that little risk, because that would be a better entry here than up here. But at the same time, if it goes up and then comes back down and hits your stop loss, you will have a little loss. And if you're okay with that, what I do normally, if that happens, is if I still am convinced that it's going to go up, I'll re-enter. Now, some people, I've had people in here give me a hard time before. Oh, Nico, your stop losses are too close. They're getting hit too often. Then put them far away and see what happens. Go ahead. I don't mind getting nickeled and dimed 3 or 4 times before the big payoff. That's just me personally. Some people, and there is a right and a wrong way to do it. Don't get me wrong, but if there's one thing that is a fact when it comes to trading, and the guys and gals that I know that make the most money trading have bigger losses than the average person, but their wins are so big that they're getting rich from it, right? So I'm not suggesting that is the textbook way to trade. That's not what hedge funds do, because hedge funds are risking other people's money, and they have to be very safe, and they have to wait for the proper support and confirmations before they enter positions. But when you personally are trading for yourself and you have a certain amount of risk capital and you're okay with risking that, then yeah, you might have a couple losses in a row, and they might even feel terrible. They might even be painful losses. But your win, when it does what we expect it to do, when it does finally make that pump, could make you tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands and clearly make up for that loss. One thing I will tell you this, guys, if you cannot stomach any loss and like you want your money back and you want to sue people because you had a loss in a trade, and even if it was a catastrophic loss because you got liquidated or you lost more than you wanted to, you have to take responsibility for your own actions. First of all, you are in a high risk game here. Now, if you don't have proper stop losses and you're risking too much, first of all, even if you don't have a stop loss, how much are you risking? You got your life savings on a trade? That's not smart. You are to blame for that. And so even if you have a stop loss and you're risking way more than you shouldn't do that. But it's only easy for me to say that after the fact because I've done that. Guys, when I was first learning how to trade, man, I was swinging for the fences and I was having crazy days. Like sometimes I have $50,000 before lunch that I would make. And there's been other days where I would give it back. And that's painful. But by doing that, meaning touching the stove every once in a while, getting burned every once in a while, by doing that's what taught me to use more proper, safer risk management and not, I mean, look at the wins wall. Look at these guys. And by the way, God bless them. I'm glad that they're having these crazy wins. But when you're seeing 100x or 500x, look at 100x, Omar killing it on XRP. Great job. 476% gain, 742% gain. But that's 100x leverage. Riskier. Now, why is it riskier? Some people say, well, as long as you have a stop loss, you're not risking anymore. That's true. But when you're at 100x leverage, your liquidation is so close to your entry, you don't have room for mistake. So if you're right on that trade, you're going to make a lot of money. And that is why this is the people who excel at this they're not scared of the risk. That's why they're having such killer gains. But if you look at this, look at John here, 500x leverage. But look at the gain. The reason why they're having such killer returns, guys, and ROIs is because they are willing to risk more. Now, he might not even be risking a lot of money. And by the way, the higher the leverage, the lower your margin, unless you add more contracts, because you can trade with super high leverage and a lot of money at the same time. But most of these guys are not. And that's why they're willing to go 100x, 500x, 200x, because they're willing to make a 5,000% gain by risking $50. Because what do you have to lose if it goes against you? $50. Is that going to change your life? Are you going to be in the poorhouse if you lose $50? But if it goes your way, just do the math. What's $50 times 5,000%?
Hey, Nico, can we see XRP?
Yes.
And Nico, I have kind of a story to share on that, like on the hedging concept. I had a strategy that kind of worked for me recently where I got stuck in a trade where I didn't want to exit because I knew it was going to come back up, but it was making me nervous. So I entered a short trade to balance it out and keep it static until it like came back like equal to the amount I was in for my long, and it worked quite well. So I just want to put that out there. It's an idea for everybody, but
Yeah.
If you guys get nervous, like that hedging concept, it does kind of work pretty well.
I'm in it right now. As you can see right here, I'm on a long with
Mhm.
10x leverage on Bitcoin with 1,300 contracts. I'm also in a short with 4,000 contracts at 10x leverage. I'm
Mhm.
negative in both right now, but if either one of them goes in the right direction, then once I get confirmation
Mhm.
that I know that it's going to continue in that direction, I will close out the other one, or I will, like for instance, this long right here. That's this one right here. If this, well, no, that's Bitcoin. Let me just give, but let's just say it was this one. If this went up to here, my long would be very profitable. But if I think that it's just going to hit here and come back down, I will close out my long here and I'll stay in my short until that comes back down to profitable. And as soon as it hits here, I'll close out my short. So I'll make profit on the long and the short. But if this just keeps going up, my long will get more and more profitable. My short will get more and more negative, but I won't lose any money because all I got to do is close them both out to break even if I really needed to. But or I could just close the one out, take the loss on the short, and make it back on the long. This is called hedging. We don't recommend it if you don't know how to do it, guys. So please, but just know that you can do that, but only on USDT. On USDT margin, you can go long and short at the same time, but you got to have the money, obviously, in your account. You got to have the balance in your margin, and you got to also know when to get out of the one position over the other one. And there is a strategy to it. And John Larson does it often. He's one of our top traders, and I think he can explain it if you have questions on how he does it on his next live call. I think he was live on Wednesday. I mean on Sunday, and I'm not sure.
No, he's going live this Sunday.
Oh, this Sunday. Okay,
yeah.
Get on, guys, with John Larson because this is John Larson here with these crazy gains. So definitely learn his strategy. Learn the strategy, and then decide for yourself if that fits into your personality type. Because just because it works doesn't mean, like, guys, if I paid you $10,000 a day to dig a ditch, but you had to dig the ditch 10 feet wide, 10 feet deep, and 10 feet long, and you had to finish it by the end of the day every day to get $10,000, how long would you be in the ditch digging business? Even though you're getting paid a lot. You might be so stressed out, so tired, so burned out, calluses on your hands from digging. You might only be able to do that one time. And you might say, fuck this, I'm never doing that again. Excuse my language. But the point is that just because someone else does something well and consistently and loves it, doesn't mean you will. That might be too stressful for you, right? So, but learn all the strategies, learn the scalping strategy, learn the swing trade, learn the long-term hold strategies, and then figure out which one melds best with your personality type. This is part of learning here, guys. Not everybody's going to be a scalper. TJ made a ton of money scalping. I think he made $1 million in this group before he actually stopped scalping. And why would he stop, right? Well, because once you have a lot of capital, you want to go into capital preservation mode. It's not just about a matter of making more money. It's a matter of keeping the money you earned, right? And you're taking risk. Then you want to go into protecting that money that you just made so you don't give it all back on a crazy scalp. So the more money you have, the less risk you're going to take, the lower the leverage, the lower the margins, all that stuff. Because guys, it's easy to make $1,000 a day every single day of your life if you got 50 grand in your account or 100 grand. So let's just first get that built up first. And you do that with smaller, more boring, consistent wins, build your account, or you just take money from somewhere else. Let's say you got a job or a business or your savings account, but you don't go put all that into your account when you don't know what you're doing just because you want to make $1,000 a day. You got to become consistently profitable first. But once you do have 50, 80, 100 grand in your trading account, making $1,000 to $5,000 at a pop is simple because you don't need a big move. You can do that with a tiny little 1% move in the market every day if you just catch a breakout. So that's why, like when you go watch Crypto Face trade on YouTube, he's got $6 million in his account. He's trading with 5x leverage. He's not even trading with a lot of leverage, 5x leverage. And he's got $1 million on the trade in his margin. And he makes 300 grand in 10 minutes. Like it's nothing. But you're looking at that and say 300 grand, holy shit. I want to make 300. Yeah, well, he's got 6 million in his account. It's all relative to how much you have in your margin. But he makes Ferrari money every day like it's nothing. But he didn't start out that way. He had to build that up. So anyway, here's XRP. XRP is still in the downward trending channel, and we didn't break out yet like this. We are waiting for that 1, 2, 3 type of move here, but we do need to break out of this downward trending line first. But I think it is close, guys. Even though it seems far away from this line at the moment, we just hit the bottom of this overall floor. And as you can see here, this whole range right here, this whole blued out area, there is a top, a middle, and a bottom. And we've hit the middle, we've wicked down to the bottom. We hit the top, we hit the middle, we wick down to the middle, we hit the top, we hit the middle, we wick the bottom, we hit the top, middle, top, middle, and now down to the bottom. We have not broken, I mean, with the exception of a couple wicks right here, we wick down a little bit lower, and this one on the 10th one, we wick down to here. We have not held below this bottom since over a year now. So what does that tell me? That is a trend. It's a sideways range that we're in, and this is the floor. Now, if we get below $1.75 on XRP and we literally hold below that line, like we go down below this and we can't get back up above this and we hold and we start to go down, okay, then we're going to see lower lows, and probably this will be it, because that was the low, the lowest low. First, we might see this. So let me just get rid of some of these and show you how I would chart it. Is that right now, let me get rid of all these lines so you can see. That wick right there is the lowest. I'll put a line right across there. I mean, that's the second lowest. And then we have this one here, all the way down here, which was an anomaly. That was a big dump back on the 10th when all the markets got wiped out. But that doesn't mean it can't happen again. It just, that's it so far. So we got these two. And then this, and here's where we're at right now. So we're up here bouncing on this floor. And if we do happen to get below it, then the next support is this one right here at $1.61. And so far, as you can see, the only time we got below this floor in the last year, we sucked right back up quickly. Even this one, when we dropped all the way down to $1.25, billions came back in instantly, sucked it right back up.
Hey, Nico, where are you at currently in your XRP positions? I mean, I've been stopped out like 3 or 4 times. And it's those wicks that are killing me.
Yeah, my stop loss hasn't been hit yet. I mean, this is my entry from the last one here. I'm low leverage at 77. I have $1,450, which is about 700 XRP on this one. I'm on an XRP margin. I'm up right now 44 XRP, which is about 5%, which is about what? Not much money. What is that? $84. But that's where I'm at. This is XRP right here. It's my open position, my stop loss, and my liquidation. So I do have a stop loss in place because I think that if it breaks this floor, then I'm going to be considering that might go down a little further. I'm only betting that we're staying above this floor because we have so far for a year. But if, with the exception of a couple wick downs, so it is possible to wick down and take me out. But I'm hoping that even if it wicks down and hits my stop loss and wicks down to this, I'm still hoping it comes right back up really quickly because I'll just re-enter long. That'll be one of those instances where I get taken out and I just re-enter. But if it comes down slowly, breaks this support, hits my stop loss and slowly hits this and comes back up and gets stopped here as resistance, instead of wicking back up real quick like this, wick back up, wick back up, wick back up. Instead, if it doesn't do that, and it's like right now, look at these wicks. I mean, they're these candles slowly building. But we have a nice green candle right here on that support. And it looks like it's coming back up above this little middle line that it was holding on a couple times. It's trying to get back above it. This is also this line right here that I have is this. Let me just get rid of some of these circles so you can see. This is that wick down right there. That is I was hoping for a double bottom there. Let me just zoom in so you can see it. But we did break below that. So there's that wick. Boom. We broke below it, wicked all the way down to the floor, and we're coming back up nicely. We're back above this, and we're getting back above this. So if the next candle opens above this downward trend line, then chances are we're going to continue to go up. I will then eventually move my stop loss to break even. But right now, I'm just going to leave it there. And however, but it is, of course, possible, guys, that this could be perfect double bottom territory right here and a little bit lower before the breakout. And I can go back and show you that happened here. We came down to the middle. We did bounce all the way up, but it was a lower high, just like here. We came down and hit this, and we did bounce, but it was a lower high. Didn't even make it up to the top there. And now we're coming down a little lower, just like this. We bounced and came down a little bit lower. And then that was the time we broke out finally. So this could turn into that, and it would look like this, where we come up, we hit resistance, we come down, we finally break out, we hold the support on all of these lines, and that's it. We're off to the races. Where to? Back up to the top of this channel, which would bring us back up into the, $4 range. $3.50 to $4 range would be a 77% pump to the upside. And at 10x leverage, that would be 700% move to the upside. At 100x leverage, that would be 7,000% move to the upside, depending on, your leverage strategy. So yeah, go ahead.
Nico, do you ever take a look at these support levels and compare them to like the liquidity heat map to see where the buying zones are?
Yeah. Here's the heat map right here. I'm on Bitcoin. We broke through. Let's go down to, I'm going to change that over to Binance BTC USD. And we already just took out this liquidity down here. We are bouncing. There's not much above us either at the moment. There's some a little bit more below us. So we could wick down on Bitcoin. We could wick back down a little bit going into the weekend, maybe to the 85 range, 86 range, which we were already at back here. Or we could just start to climb out. But as of right now, that's what it's looking like there. Let me look at a different model.
When you do the heat map, which time period do you prefer to use?
I'm always using the lowest because I do check several different ones, but I'm always trying to see exactly what's in the near. It's like the lower time frames to me are, by the way, the 12-hour time frame is still, not very low. I mean, it's not necessarily, it's not like a minute or a 5-minute chart or a 10-minute chart. It's still half a day. It's like the daily, but why is this taking so long? Hold on one second. Let me go to 24 hour. But if you zoom out, guys, like we have put that was back here, and then as we get closer to the current price, we already took that out right there. Boom. I mean, to the current time. So we zoom in to the current moment. Down here, you can adjust that. But we are bouncing. There is some liquidity underneath here. It's not super yellow like this, but there's some money sitting here. And so we could drop a little bit more. I mean, it is downward trending. So until we get a higher high, this is what I mean by that. Well, that was Bitcoin, but let me just show you. It's like this. See these lower lows and lower lows. We do need to break above this resistance and break out of that downward trending drop in order for it to be a trend reversal. This is the trend basically going down. We're coming into a little bit of a wedge. We're trying to get back into it right here, but we got to break out of this and get out of this downward trend. And it looks like it's trying to. We got a nice solid green candle here. We not only did we wick below this support and this support, we wicked down to this support and bounced pretty high back through this one and back through this one. So this is the daily. We got about, let me see, how much time do we got left on this one? We got about 5 hours and 42 minutes left of that candle. And so we want the next candle. Oh, this is Bitcoin now. Hold on one second. We go to XRP. We have 5 hours and 42 minutes left of this candle. And we want to see it come back in. We do have a little bit of, yeah, we might be below. this downward trending channel here. We want to see it come back up, but these are all those wick downs I was just talking about. This is that whole zone, that whole floor. This is the one anomaly that came all the way down to here. That was crazy.
Nico,
Yes.
if you have a high heat apex, can you set limit orders above and below and then use the previous areas of support and resistance as take profit zones?
So you're talking about like setting a limit conditional order here to go long in case if it breaks through this,
Uh-huh.
and then putting, where is the take profit? Next resistance
The next
level?
support level you said it might go to if it goes up would be the
Resistance.
take profit.
The next resistance level, you mean? Yeah. Yeah, you could do that. The only reason I don't do that specifically, and there's nothing wrong with it, you just got to know where to put it, is that if this happens, what if it comes up here and breaks out like this and hits your limit conditional order long and then comes back down, now you're negative. So you just need to realize if you're not paying attention. So what I'd like it to do is I'd like it to break out of here and then hold, because we want support above the downward trending channel. So if it breaks out here, we want it to hold as support first. The problem is we don't know how high. When it does break out, we don't know how high it's going to go before it comes down and holds as support. It could
But
come
if
up.
you set another one at the bottom of it and it goes down, isn't it sort of like hedging without putting any money in yet? Like using the limits as a hedge?
Well, if it enters your position, if it triggers your long right here, you have money in it. And then if it comes back down and hit your stop loss here, you just took a loss. It's okay.
Right. If it keeps going down, you'll have another limit order going on the downtrend.
You mean another conditional order? No.
On the downtrend.
Yeah. On that same chart, on that same trade, 2 limit orders in different directions.
Yeah.
Well, it would have to get above, obviously, in order to come back down and hit that one. I'm not sure. I never do that. I mean, I'm assuming you can, but I'm not so sure that you can have because this order might get triggered. It might not even let you place a short here because the price is under that right now. So you have to check that. Has anybody else ever done that?
Conditional. You have to use conditionals to do what she wants to do. Yeah, I wouldn't use a limit conditional. So limit conditional requires a trigger price and a limit price. And that trigger price tends to hit the limit, then goes on the board, but usually price is blown through their entry because the limit has to get placed after the trigger. I just use a market conditional in those cases. It's a market order, yes, but it has that extra trigger price, but no separate limit price to get in the way. The market conditional works best.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. And that's, I believe John Larson taught me that. So thanks, John.
Guys, please, if you're not talking or wanting us to see you, mute yourself out and turn your camera off. Please. I'm going to stop video on some people because I think they're doing things they don't want us to see. With that being said, I think that there's a lot of things you can do that I don't recommend doing, but you can certainly experiment with that and try that, especially what Bill just explained, but using market conditional orders. I don't like to, because the market is so volatile and the breakouts sometimes don't pump as high, or they might pump just enough to trigger your order and then come back down and go right back into that channel. Like, for instance, let's just say you had a limit conditional order to go short. If it broke down below this line, and as soon as it went through it, it triggered it, or maybe your limit conditional order was short down here, it triggered it, and now you're short, and you weren't paying attention, and it wicked all the way down here and came right back up, and now you're very negative up here. But you might say, okay, yeah, but I'll put that short here and I'll put that long here. But if it triggers your long here, it's going long here. It's not going to go through that and trigger your short. I don't know. I think it's going to trigger whichever one hits first. Or it'll trigger your long here and then close out that trade by triggering your short here. Because remember, your conditional orders, a stop loss and a take profit target are both limit conditional orders. So it might treat it like a stop loss, or it might close out the one order to initiate the next one. But try it. Experiment, guys. But when you experiment, just do it with a little bit of money. Don't be risking a lot on these. Once you experiment enough, and I used to do that a lot when I was trading the Forex market, I got to the point where that's why on my charts have a lot of lines on them, a lot of trend lines and stuff like that, but you don't see much in the way of indicators or, it's pretty clean that way because I'm just price action. And I'm usually watching, and I really don't want to be in a trade when I'm not paying attention. So if I just set a conditional order for it to put me in a trade when it hits a certain price, I may not remember that I did that, and I might not be paying attention when it does that, and I might not want to be in that, because when it finally does hit that, there might be a reason why I don't think it's going to stay or go that direction, and I might not have, at the time it hits it, I may not want to be in that anymore. So I'd rather manually enter my trades. So that's just me. I'm trading manually when I see the proper trade setup or the entry when I want to be.
Nico, I had just kind of an idea on this too, and something that I know you focus on trend lines on higher time frames, and higher highs, higher lows. Within downward trending channels, there can also be higher highs and higher lows between those two. That's what you would consider scalping. Is that my understanding? Like between, let's say that those two downward trending yellow lines there, as an example, you could just basically trade between those channels as well, right? That's scalping. Is that how that works? What is that? I guess that's what I'm asking. And I hear about scalping, but I don't really. I think I've done that. That's why I'm asking. Is that what you guys are referring to?
Yeah. Well, whenever you see a big pump like this, for instance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green candles to the upside on the daily. That's 6 days in a row, green candles, and we hit a new all-time high. I would short that, especially after breaking out of resistance, because I would think that we're going to come back to retest. And so this would be a scalp where I would just short, even though I think it's going to go higher and I think that we're still going to pump, I would short in the short term because I think we're going to come back down to retest. So from here to here would be a scalp, and that could happen very quickly. In fact, it did. So this was a big pump after a bunch of green candles. This is a trend. This is a trend that will not continue. We just don't see days of green candles without a big pullback. So we had a big pullback from here to here. That took 1, 2, 3 days. That's a scalp, or even this one candle for the day. Boom, all the way down to here before the next candle opened. That's a scalp. Actually, it went all the way down to here and back up to here before this candle opened and then dropped further. But once it starts bouncing, now I would have thought that it would have come down to the bottom here to retest this resistance, which it did here, which was basically another bull flag. That was a falling wedge. But scalps to me are just, in and out. It doesn't mean you're married to the direction. Like the direction could be up, and we know it's going to go up. But whenever you have a big pump like this, we usually have a sharp consolidation or pullback period. That could be a good scalp. So people are like, "Oh, it's going up. It's going up. I'm buying. I'm going long." Yeah, but I might be shorting this because that doesn't mean I don't like Bitcoin or that I'm trying to sell my XRP or whatever. It just means that I think that after a big pump like this, we're going to have a nice consolidation period, and this is where people are taking profits from that pump, and some people are shorting. That's why the price goes back down. If people just kept buying and buying and buying and buying, the price would just continue up, but that never happens. There's another example right here. Huge pump. Whenever you see a big wick like that, up to the upside, one candle straight up, generally speaking, guys, there's going to be a big fall after that. And it did. Boom, right back down to where it started.
I mean, that happened just a couple days ago. We had that massive pump. And I'd entered a trade at the bottom of it, and then it pumped up, and then I wanted to stay in it because I was like, oh, we're moving into a boardroom, and then all of my profits disappeared because it just dropped back down. So
Yeah,
I mean,
you're gonna do that until you learn not to do that. You're gonna just keep doing that because we all think it's just gonna keep going. Oh, this is the time, this is the time. But maybe just you got to look at the channel. Like if I didn't have any drawings on here and this pump started happening here, I could think that, oh, this is it, we're moving up. But when I have the drawings on, I'm gonna say moving up to where? I mean, this is probably the channel that it's going to get, hit on. Maybe I'll just take this profit. Is it going to consolidate? Oh, it's starting to consolidate, it's starting to go down, it's starting to go down. Should I just get out and take the profit right now? Or is it going to bounce and go up to here? But if you're up, if this is up 10% from here to here and you're at 10x leverage, you just made 100% gain, close it out and take the profit. Wait for the next trade setup. It happens over and over and over again. So if you just get in the habit of taking profits when you're in profits, guys, you will become consistently profitable traders. And I know for a fact, because I talk to a lot of you and I have one-on-ones with a lot of you, and I know you've said it on these calls, most of you have been in profitable trades and even good profit and big profit and let it go all the way back down to break even or negative because you didn't take the profits. How many of you want to admit to that? I mean, it happened to me a million times in my life.
I mean, that I was talking about that hedge trade I dropped into, and it was from that trade. I moved into a profitable trade. I went up. I said, oh, I was going to keep going, and my greed set in. And then I didn't, it was a good reminder of like, if you're always taking profits, you're always profitable. So I'm going to stick to that. Hopefully the last lesson I had in that.
Yeah, you think so? I mean, I have a little sports car that has side pipes, and I know better than to get out of that thing after driving it because it's hot and you can burn your leg. But even though I'm careful, I still burn myself every once in a while. And so, it's like you can know the rules. I mean, eating Twinkies are going to get you fat, and we know it, and we know we should be walking extra, but we do it anyway. So it's not a matter of knowing the rules, it's a matter of being disciplined enough to stick to them and to always be aware of them. And but first thing is to learn the rule and then understand it, and then maybe you get burned once or twice, and hopefully you just don't let it happen again. But it will happen again probably if you're not paying attention. So that's why you got to be paying attention.
Well, greed is a hell of an emotion. I think that you have to really just kind of take a step back and look at it logically and say, yeah, this is a good time to exit this trade. And I hope that was the last lesson I had, and that but yeah.
Yeah, guys, trading let's see, I think it was Cynthia. She posted a little image of a roller coaster. Trading is a roller coaster, right? But there's a couple ways to look at it. Is it stressful because roller coasters can stress you out, or they can be scary, or is it exciting because you like roller coasters? And if you understand the ups and downs of the roller coaster, you can actually get good at riding the roller coaster. You can become a roller coaster expert, and you can not only ride it, but you can explain exactly where every twist and turn is going to be, or you can be fearful of it and have anxiety every time you look at it. And so, but that's also controllable as well. Some people might say, yeah, I have anxiety just looking at it. Well, that can change. I mean, all you got to do is understand it better. And when you understand the roller coaster better, and you've been on it a few times, and and then you start to understand what to expect, because then your confidence changes. When you understand what's going to happen next, your confidence changes. And when your confidence changes, it doesn't freak you out anymore, and you don't get anxiety anymore. And just like anything else that you do regularly, you start to then have a lot of confidence towards it. When someone else is panicking to get on the roller coaster, you laugh at them and you're like, listen, it's no big deal. Listen, I've done this 100 times. You just do this. In fact, in 5 seconds, as soon as you get on there and starts moving, 5 seconds later, you're going to take a right turn and you're going to drop a minute. It's going to seem scary, but then it's going to level out and you're going to be back to safe again because you understand exactly all the moves. And so like I've given the analogy before where it's like, if you go outside, if you always wear socks and shoes and you go outside right now barefoot and walk down the street, and off the paving road into the gravel, you're going to be in pain. You're going to be, ow, ooh, ah. Some of you can't hardly walk at all with bare feet on the street because it hurts. your tender little feet, because they'd never been exposed to such sharp, rough objects in a long time. But I remember when I was a kid, in my early teens, I was like Tarzan. I went out with no shoes, no shirt, all day, every day, running around the neighborhood, doing flips, jumping off of trees. I was bruised, scraped up, probably needed stitches that I never got. But my feet were like, so calloused up, I could walk on hot coals, right? Didn't affect me anymore. But when you do something consistently and regularly, you don't feel the same pain or worry anymore. You're not affected by the same thing. Emotionally, that's what trading does. Eventually, over time, you become detached emotionally to the money. And that is the biggest thing, guys. We talk about mindset a lot. This is about mindset. Some people say, oh, it's not about mindset. You got to know this, that. No, once you get the technical analysis down and you understand support and resistance and supply and demand, it's all emotion and removal of it. It's all detaching yourself emotionally from the money. People wonder how I can take, I can get stopped out and re-enter and stop out and re-enter and stopped out and re-enter 3 times in a row. It's because I'm emotionally detached. I don't even think about it. I don't worry about a little bit that I just lost. I don't care if it's 200, 500, 300 to me, because the gain that I'm going to make when it does what I want it to do is going to be 10 times that amount. So now there does come a time, if you continually lose and get stopped out, that you have to reevaluate if the position that you think is going to happen or not. And you have to really go and look at all the different timeframes and say, was my thesis right? Am I right about this? Is it going to do this or not? And there does come a time when you can be proven wrong, but that's just when you just change your position. And it's okay. It's kind of like growing up believing in Santa Claus when you're a kid, and then you swore to God Santa Claus is real. If you ask any kid who's 5 years old if Santa Claus is real, they're going to tell you yes. But when you ask that same kid 20 years later, he's going to say no. Why? Is it because he's, it's only because his position changed on it because he learned more over time. And we all do that. We have to make a decision based on what's happening right now and what we understand right now. And then we can either be proven wrong or proven right. If we're proven wrong, we can change our position. We can change our belief. We can change our overall outlook on something. Happens to people all the time with religion, happens to people all the time with even the shape of the earth and the distance of the sun. And go ahead.
And Nico, I wanted to share something too, because I'm still learning and it's been kind of fun. It's also been challenging and honestly scary, if I'm being truly honest, because I am entering trades with my own money now, but it's been good. Good and bad, I think. But my take on it is I treat learning like an analyst. Like I study the data. I study how charts move. I actually am a little bit obsessive about it for now, because it helps me better understand how charts and how these how these tokens make moves. And I've learned that I typically like to work with a token and trade in a token that I understand its typical move structure, and that's something that I study. And I don't enter a trade unless I understand how it moves. Like that's how I feel, at least.
Yeah, good point. And that's why, guys, I like to trade Bitcoin futures contracts and XRP and Ethereum, because they have a long price history. And I can look back for months and years to see the movement patterns and the price action. If you're trading a token that just got launched for the first time and it pumps up like Trump coin or whatever, Melania token or whatever, and it shoots up really high, like here, as soon as it gets launched, boom. You cannot look back and see where the support and resistance levels were, because it doesn't exist. It's new. It's like a baby. It hasn't learned how to walk yet. You can't even determine what the personality of this baby is going to be. You can't tell when it's going to learn how to walk, where it's going to get its feet. And so it just dumps. And then it's like, oh, now you're trying to draw support and resistance line on something that just doesn't even have any history. And it may not act the way you want it to act. But when you're trading something that has a long price action, price history, then you can get a better look, like this right here. I just draw this line all the way back to 2019 on XRP. That is a nice upward trending channel. Let's just take it back even further. Go. Let's take it back even further. Isn't it kind of amazing how this stuff happens? Boom, boom, breakout, retest, retest, pump all the way up, resistance, 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 breakout, boom, retest on that same line. Amazing. That tariff dump right there, which was a killer. I mean, that wiped out a lot of people. That one big wick down to $1, whatever it was. On this chart, it looks like it's going down to 80 cents on Binance. I think it went down to $1.25, which was still $1.25 right here, which was what? Oh, isn't that something? It was previous resistance and support. Resistance, support. You can always find it if you look to the left. You can't look to the right because that doesn't exist yet. That's the future. History is where you find all the support and resistance levels. Any other questions, guys? We got, by the way, we got an onboarding starting in 20 minutes or so with Bill. If you're brand new, you want to get on that onboarding call with Bill. He just posted the link in the Zoom chat, and it's also in the Discord.
I have a question, Nico.
Yes, it's in the announcements channel. Well, it will be, and it will be in the trade chat channel. There it is, right there. Go ahead.
My question was slightly off topic regarding the Decent wallet. The recommendation was to go with something like that, a cold wallet like Decent, because of its among many things, its Web3 capabilities.
Yeah.
But is the Web3 portion of it, is that something in addition to the actual Decent wallet? So like once you transfer things to your cold wallet to the Decent wallet, is there an additional Web3 component that needs to be enabled to take advantage of that? Or is that just integrated as part of the wallet?
When you have a cold storage wallet like Decent, guys, your hardware wallet, the hardware portion of the wallet, which is the little device that you put your thumbprint on, the biometric part, that does not store your crypto. Your crypto is stored on the blockchain. Okay, that's the Web3. It's out there. Now, no one has access to it. No one can see it. You can literally wipe your hard wallet clean, restore it to factory setting, and then go to your app and not see any of your coins on the app. They disappeared. You're going to think you lost all your crypto, but all you got to do is reactivate the hard wallet, and it's going to ask for your 24-word seed phrase as soon as you put that in, and then connect it back to the app with the Bluetooth, right? It's going to pull up, it's going to recognize your wallet, it's going to pull it up, and then all you do is put back in the what cryptos you had. So let's say you got XRP. Let's say you had XRP and Bitcoin. You would put the whatever you named those two accounts. You would put that back in, and all of a sudden your tokens would show back up. They're out. They're on the blockchain. But they could be lost forever if you lost your 24-word seed phrase. Like if you didn't have a way to. This is why, guys, this is very important. This is the important part. If you're going to use a cold storage wallet, if you use Coinbase, they have the seed phrase. They're the ones in control. They're custodians of your crypto. That's why we say not your crypto, not your keys, not your crypto, because your keys are your 24-word seed phrase. And if you have money on an exchange like Coinbase, they have the phrase. They have the seed phrase, the keys. They're just holding it for you. They're the custodian, so they can block you, lock you out. You can get banned from their account. That's why people worry about losing their crypto on that. Now, if you have a cold storage wallet, you are now 100% responsible. You could lose it. You could lose your 24-word seed phrase. You could be in a jam. In fact, this happened to me on Decent just yesterday. I don't talk about these things a lot because I know how to figure it out. I mean, I was worried. I always get nervous when I go into my cold storage wallet and I don't see any of my crypto. I mean, everybody would be, because I had a lot on there. And because what happened was when I went to use my thumbprint in order to exchange money. Like, for instance, when you're using Decent, you have an app, right, that you download from the App Store, the Decent app, and then you have to connect your biometric wallet to it. And only way for you to see your crypto on the app is for you to use your thumbprint, your passcode, your 24-word seed phrase, and all that stuff. So no one else can ever get access to your wallet without that information. But I was trying to make a transfer, and in order to withdraw or deposit or exchange funds inside your Decent app, you need to use your thumbprint on the device, and it's got to connect to the app through Bluetooth. Once it connects, you can make those transactions. But what happened to me is it wasn't every time I did my thumbprint, it would say try again, like it was faulting or whatever. It wasn't recognizing my thumb, or I wasn't holding my finger on properly. And if it does that 5 times in a row, guys, then it will then switch over to the passcode. And if you put the wrong passcode in 10 times, then it automatically locks you out, and you have to reset your biometric wallet and use your 24-word seed phrase. If you don't have that if that happens to you and you don't have your 24-word seed phrase, you will never be able to log back in. So make sure that when you buy one of those cold storage wallets, you create your 24-word seed phrase, you write it down, and you keep that in a safe place. Maybe even make duplicates, and you keep it on a card. It's a access card, and on the card it has 24 lines, and each line will carry the word number 1, word number 2, word number 3, and it's helping you create those words in the beginning. But once you've created your set of 24 words, you need to keep that on that card, hide it somewhere, put it in a safe, keep it in a safe place. Never take a screenshot or a picture of it and keep it on your phone, because if someone steals your phone and gets access to your pictures, they can find your 24-word seed phrase. Then all they need is your biometric wallet. Now, actually, they don't even need that. All they need to do is order a new one from the factory, and then use your 24-word seed phrase to log in. And they can do that. So here's why it's so safe, though, because if you have money on Coinbase has your keys, and they could block you from entering. But also, if Coinbase gets hacked, someone else could hack Coinbase, and then Coinbase is responsible. They'll probably refund you or make it up to you, but that's a process. If you have your money on a hot wallet like MetaMask or Trust Wallet, it's safer. You have your keys, but it's still online, and if someone hacked your computer or had malware, if you accidentally downloaded malware somewhere on your computer, someone could get in there and get into your wallet. Whereas a cold storage wallet's different. It's much less likely to get hacked. In fact, it's unhackable. They cannot hack it. They need your 24-word seed phrase. That's what makes it so much safer. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I use it. But just to give you guys an idea, yesterday, that's what happened to me, and I had to reset it. And so I went like an hour without being able to see all my holdings. And it was a little nerve-wracking because I didn't remember the exact process, so I had to go online and follow the steps and all this shit, and it was a little nerve-wracking. But the good news is that whenever that happens, your money is safe, your crypto is safe. You just need to reactivate the hard wallet, the device. Sometimes you need to reset it, wipe it clean, and start over, but you do need your 24-word seed phrase in order to get access again.
Thanks, Nico.
Someone asked me yesterday also, I could save money if I buy, maybe they didn't do it for saving money, but you can buy these wallets on Amazon. I do not recommend that, guys. If you're buying from a seller, somebody else who's selling them, they could have ordered them and then done something to them, and then you buy them from them and they send them to you. And then you log in, you put all your crypto on there, and they have some sort of backdoor pass somehow. I don't know, but do not ever buy a cold storage wallet from anyone other than the manufacturer. Chris, so if in the case of an unfortunate death, if you willed it to someone, all they would need is your 24-word seed phrase to access. Yes, your biometric, they would need the device and the 24-word seed phrase and your passwords and all that stuff. They could reset the password, though, as long as they have your 24-word seed phrase. That's correct. And they also have to know how to do it. Like most people, like guys, if something happened to me, I guarantee you my mother, my sister, they have no clue how to access any of my stuff. Because they're not paying attention to that kind of stuff. They're not trying to learn it. Yeah, you have to make fun of a video. And that's the problem. Most people don't plan for, something to happen to them. So they're not prepared to let the next person know. So that's why I said before, and I know some people thought it was a joke, crypto is one of the only things and the only assets that you can take with you when you die. Because if you die, you have a lot of furniture in your house would go up for probate, your family and heirs would get it. They would inherit not only the house, but also the debt. If you have a mortgage, and they would have to sell it if they can't afford it. And they would have to get rid of all the furniture or keep it, decide what they want to keep, all of your jewelry, whatever. Your cars, would go to somebody else eventually. Everything would go to somebody else. But if you have crypto somewhere and no one has your password or seed phrases, no one's ever getting it. You can take it with you. Thanks, Mel. I can trust you to take care of mine. What about Pacific Palisades fires and the house went up with the cold wallet? So if that was the case and you lost your cell phone and your cold wallet and your device, your cold wallet hardware device, and everything was burnt up in a fire, what you have to do in that case is you have to order a new device and get a new phone. And then when you get your new phone, you download the app again on the new phone, you get your new device in the mail, and then you set it up with your 24-word seed phrase. Now, if you don't have your 24-word seed phrase and that goes up in a fire, yeah, you might have a problem. Put it in a safe, guys. Get a fireproof safe. There you go, Keith. Yeah, guys, it's it's an interesting world we live in, but it's either someone else has control of your stuff or you do. And I would just suggest that you learn how to be in control of your stuff. And if you don't trust yourself, then go ahead, stay on Coinbase, because that's the next best thing. Because Coinbase is big and they are secure and they are a, multi-trillion-dollar international publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. Does that mean they're infallible? No. But I mean, it's the biggest crypto bank out there, and they do provide a lot of services and a lot of safety features, and they do have many levels of security. Google authenticator apps where you can get a 6-digit code, text message. You also have to, if I try to send crypto from Coinbase, it's going to pop up a little QR code that I have to hold up with my cell phone, and then it does a facial recognition on me before it goes through. I got a lot of safety features on mine. I set up all the levels of security you can get, but that doesn't mean that something can't happen to Coinbase. Yeah, Stacy, MetaMask, a 12-word seed phrase. Descent is 24 words, and you can actually create a 25th word just for extra safety. So, yeah. Dave, do you like the Keystone wallet? I have not used it, or I don't know anything about it, so I can't answer that. Google top 10, cold storage, Web3 based cold storage wallets, and you'll get a list. I mean, Trezor's been out there for a long time. There's a few other new ones that look pretty cool, but I'm just using Descent right now because I like the biometrics, guys. If someone is chopping my hand off and using my thumb, then I got other problems. Not only that, but I have facial recognition on my phone, so they would need my face and my thumb. And so if I'm held captive somewhere and they're making me do something, that's a different story. But that doesn't mean I won't remember my 12-word seed phrase off the top of my head.
Don't jinx yourself.
What's that?
I said, don't jinx yourself.
Right. Yes. I generally don't think of worst case scenarios, but sometimes we have to go over them because I think that's not even the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is like we have a zombie apocalypse and the power grid goes down. Okay, so your crypto might be safe in your wallet and your cold storage wallet, but if it's on Coinbase and you have no internet access and no power, and let's just say we have a solar flare from the sun and knocks out the power, or we have one of those explosions in the sky that takes out the power grid for weeks or months, okay, we got bigger problems to worry about. In the short term, it's survival mode, right? But if you have a cold storage wallet, your crypto is safe. You just can't access it, right? Until the power goes back on, until you can have internet access again. And same with Coinbase and same with the banks and everything else. You won't be able to use your ATM. You won't be able to transfer money online. You won't be able to do anything because the power's out. So you got bigger problems, but at least in your cold storage wallet, it's safe until the power comes out. However, if it's on Coinbase or some other internet-based company or platform, not only does the power have to go back, but they have to have not incurred any problems during that time that you have to worry about. Stranded if you have a Tesla, yeah, that could be another problem. I heard, yeah, there was that movie that that was out not that long ago, and then that happened, and the power went out, and Tesla started all returning to some base. They all started driving themselves back to some weird area. That was kind of freaky. Physical gold, yeah, but you know, if that happens, Keith, is the guy at 7-Eleven, first of all, if there's a power outage for a long time, there's probably not going to be a guy at the 7-Eleven you can't buy a candy bar from. And are they going to take dollars? Are they going to take gold? Or is can openers going to be the medium of exchange? Because when people are starving, their priorities change. They no longer are worried about gold and silver and crypto and Bitcoin. They're worried about eating. And that's when shit gets dangerous. But I don't like to talk about these. That's worst case scenario. I don't think that's going to happen in the US. Of course, everything's possible. And it may happen someday, but I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime. But and that's why when I see those people that are, survivalist and they got the bunkers and all that stuff, I don't think they're crazy. I think that's smart if you can do it. If you can do it, you should do it. It's just covering all your bases. But then I wonder, do I even want to be alive if all that shit happens? Do I want to even live through all that? I don't know.
Honestly, that's why I got into Bitcoin back 13 years ago. I live in Florida like you, South Florida. There's hurricanes. I live very close to Cuba, all these different things going on. I used to just trade Bitcoin just to have it as a get out of Dodge if something happens, if run on the banks, hurricane, I'm just getting on a plane, get out of here, go live somewhere for a few months and come back when it was reasonable again. That's how I got into Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's how I got into buying guns and ammo and trained my wife how to use firearms. Have a lifted truck. If Bob Clicks comes, I'm fucking ready, baby. We're taking over.
Yeah. Be prepared, guys. I mean, we're obviously, and in the meantime, try to get as rich as possible because the people who have the most money have the most options when the shit hits the fan. You can buy your way out of a lot of things. You can pay for a spot on that jet out of here if you need to. But anyway, let's hope that it won't come to that. But at the same time, guys, yeah, I mean, my girlfriend, we go to the gun range. She got a gun. Why? Because she was getting harassed when she's out walking and jogging. Creepy guys slowing down in their cars, following her around neighborhoods. You just don't know, you can't, there's all kinds of crazy shit going on in the world. So you should be able, I always tell you, and she agrees that it's better to have one and not need it than to need one and not have it. Bear spray. Yeah, that's probably good. All right, guys, let's get back to crypto here. I got a few more minutes left. We got 3 minutes, 4 minutes till the top of the hour. Bill's going to do an onboarding at 2. But as you can see, it's really slow moving right now. We're going into the weekend. We are hitting the bottom of this support. This is XRP, and I am in 3 open positions. I'm long on XRP, but I'm also long and short on Bitcoin with a hedge. And because we are right on the cusp of an apex breakout. Let's just go back to Bitcoin real quick and look. This is what's happening. This is an upward trending previous support and resistance level, and we are in a downward trending resistance coming into what I call the apex, also forming a nice upside down inverted cup and handle up against support. So that could go 2 ways, guys. It's either going to break to the downside and bring us down right to this level, which is the previous this would be all the way down in the 68 to 73 zone. I'm not really expecting that. because inverted cup and handles do normally break to the downside, but not necessarily when they're up against major support. So I'm hoping instead of that it tricks everyone, fakes everyone out, breaks to the upside, comes back up to retest this resistance at the 98K, which was major support back here that we never retested when we broke through. So, and if that happens, that's also a break of the downward trending channel from the all-time high. And so that's kind of where we're at. We're just kind of slowly winding into this. And we've had some long wicks up to this line. And you can see, look how many times it's hit it. 1, 2, 3. This is the daily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 hits to that. That usually is a sign that it's trying to break out. But we are also coming down a little lower, and a little lower, and a little lower. So we could double wick down here, double bottom on this line, and break to the upside. I'm hoping. But this is not a game of hope. This is a game of what we're gonna take action based on what it does. So I am in a long, just in case that happens. I'm also in a short in case that happens. That's called a hedge. I don't give hedge signals because unless you know what you're doing, you shouldn't do it. But that means I'm willing to go negative in one of these positions while I capitalize on the other, because both of them might be short term. Even if we break down to here negative, my long will go negative, but my short will go positive. And then if we bounce here, I will add to my long positions to bring my entry from up here down to here, and then get positive here on the long as it comes back up. That's a strategy, but if you don't know what to do or how to do it, don't do it. Wait for one or the other. I'll give a signal. I'll let you know, but I'll share my I'll take a screenshot of my actual open positions at the moment so you can see them. Whoops. Accidentally clicked the video. And put those in there so you can at least see where I'm at if you guys are interested in doing the same. But these were not necessarily signals, guys. Those are just me waiting for something to happen. We're in the apex, getting ready to break out. I did put it, by the way, watch this video if you haven't seen it. XRP Explained. This girl knows what she's talking about. She's been around for a while. This is actually a 15-minute video, but I only posted 3 minutes of it, which was enough. But yeah, so still in these positions that I posted the other day. It's just not much action happening right now. And this Japanese reverse carry trade is unwinding, and we might have just saw the effect of that in that most recent dump. But it could get worse, guys. It could get worse. Oops. Any questions before we wrap it up? Chad, you got anything you want to add?
No, not specifically. We're just going.
So what actually happened? What actually happened in Japan? What was the thing on that?
Japan had a 30-year, basically, they were loaning money at 0 interest for like 30 years, for a long time. And that just came to an end. And they just now raised the interest to like 75 basis points right out of the blue. So when you're borrowing money very cheaply, which a lot of companies and businesses and people did for years, and now all of a sudden you got to get out of those. It's called a reverse carry trade. They're carrying the trade. It's reversing. It's unwinding right now. And that could be economically devastating for the whole world, not just Japan. It's a big thing. So Pilar just posted a link to it in the chat. Guys, go ahead and click on that and read about it. How the world's biggest creditor could cripple U.S. market. Thank you, Pilar. Appreciate that. You can Google reverse carry trade, Japanese reverse carry trade, and understand it. It's big, guys. It could crash the stock market. It could crash the crypto market, but it is temporary. And money will flow into these assets. Oil goes up, XRP will go up through the roof. Bitcoin, things like that will go up. Gold will go up. Silver will go up. People move their money into alternative asset classes. But in the short term, it could get a little messy. We could see a dip before the big pump. So you got to be prepared for that. Anybody else got an explanation they want to? By the way, guys, the onboarding is starting right now. So get over there if you're brand new, at least. Bill's already put the link in the chat here, and also in the Discord. He put it in the announcements channel and in the trade chat channel right here. So make sure you get on that. If you're brand new, if you're not new, I'm going to wrap this up in another minute. If there's any other questions. You're welcome, Lon. Thank you. Right above your comment, Lynn, where did Pilar post it? Right above your comment. It's a link. I don't know if you can see it or not. Yes.
Any word on how Billy's doing after his surgery?
Billy. Billy, which Billy? You mean the node guy?
Yeah, Billy Womack.
No, I didn't hear from him. He sends me meme videos and funny videos on Instagram, so I'm assuming he's okay. I think he's still alive. I'll ask him though. Thanks for bringing that up. I forgot to ask because I do remember him saying.
If it helps, I talked to him a couple days ago about the staking. I posted it in the ICO part. He said he stakes on with the last four letters FOF, but I'm going to be honest. He said the
Yeah.
more nodes that are sold and online, then the less the rewards you're going to get. But he said right now they're about to launch about 1,000 stores, probably within the next month, being conservative. He said, so once that comes down, all the transactions that those are going to produce will produce more rewards. But he said, honestly, this is obviously just for our group. He stakes on that node I told you, on that validator, he out about 1 million every 3 days. But if you read about it, it says the more, people staking on it, the less the reward. So there's all these other validators. I'm not sure if you really want to be on that.
I'll show you.
If he's doing that many, that way you're getting maybe a little bit more. But even right now, like I have 20 like you, so it's about 2.3 a day, and that's without these stores and everything else. Right there, that's like 800 or 900 a year. So
yeah,
it's about 8.5% on what and that's only for, I was only for like 9,000 that I staked the other day. So as you get more, and I have more, obviously I haven't staked, but like I said, just an FYI.
No, I appreciate it. And I'll show you what he's talking about right here, guys. So this is just my back office right here. I've earned 40,000 Optio tokens so far. Got a couple days pending. The very first day, only 10 of the 20 nodes, because I bought 10 and I got 10 free, but the other 10 didn't kick in until the next day, I guess. That's why I only got half there. But if you go to assets, if you go to home and you want to, let's say you want to stake, you click on Optio, and this is the balance distribution stake. If I want to click stake, I click up here stake, and it says choose a validator with high uptime and low commissions for best results. Okay, so where do you pick the validator? These are the different validators right here. And I think the one that Billy uses, and I'm not sure how he knows which one or why it even matters. They're all offering the same fee and the same uptime. So to me, it's I don't know if it matters too much, but I think the one is this one right here. HUT. HUT is the first word after the numbers, but I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you why it matters, to be honest with you. I personally have not staked anything. I'm not staking. I'm accumulating. The reason why is because I don't like things to be tied up for 21 days in case I want to get out. Because if you stake, guys, you have to wait 21 days to unstake. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just personally, and yes, you do earn a lot more. And over time, it does grow to a lot more. And Billy is certainly staking. And that is an option for you. And you can stake some, you don't have to stake them all. You can stake every other day. That way you don't have everything tied up. That might be something you want to do. But as you can see, we have gone up just over the last since the first when I came in. The price has almost doubled. We went from 0.39 cents. We went up to a high of 7, almost 8 cents up here, right? Right now it's at 6 cents or so. Oh no, it's at 0.49. So 0.4 is that the current price? So it's going to fluctuate, guys. It's going to go up and down until things happen, but you're just accumulating and waiting for the time being. So if if you're new here, well, first of all, you should be on the onboarding if you're brand new, but we have all of this in the Discord, in the ICO channel. The buy one, get one free might be ending soon. So some people keep asking, is it still available? Just try to do it. Billy said he'll push it through as long as he can, but he can't tell me when it's going to end. But the buy one get one free is only if you buy 10 or more. All right, guys, listen, I'm not promoting it. I'm not out there pumping it up. I'm not trying to sell people on it. I'm not trying to make money on it from anybody. I didn't use my referral code. We used Billy, so he's the ambassador for that. I don't care about that. If it works, great. We'll make a lot of money. If it doesn't, hey, it's a risk like everything else. But the only reason I brought Billy on is because I've seen him make a lot of money over the last 10 years or so, 5 years or so with these nodes. So, that doesn't mean that we will, doesn't mean it will. I'm just saying that there is a lot to it. And it is another way to be involved with crypto in a different way that can produce a lot of return later on.
Hey, Nico, how many days does it take to have it show up in your Kyvo, like pending for it to get distributed? Mine's from December 8th, still shows that it's pending.
In your simple app server, it says pending, or in Kyvo?
In Kyvo.
Okay, so it is showing in Kyvo. Kyvo connects to your server. I mean, it found your nodes, right? But they're showing pending.
Yes.
Okay, so just real quick, like this right here, it says pending status.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it takes about a week. Mine took about 5 or 6 days, I think, before they started. And not only that, but you're always going to have some pending. So if let's just say you had 2 nodes, or no, I'm sorry, let's just say you had 1, it doesn't matter. You're going to have pending, the next day pending, and then all of a sudden that one node is no longer pending, is distributing, but the next day is going to say pending. And then the next day is going to say pending. And then this day will go from pending to distributed. And then there's going to be another pending. So this pending is always there. This one will go distributed, and there'll be another pending above this one, and so on and so forth. So you're always going to be a few days behind once it starts distributing.
Yeah, from December 8th was the first day that I show, pending, then 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. And it's still all pending.
The only thing that he said to check is to ask the people when this happens, if you use your cell phone number or your email address when you signed up. He said that can happen. It's trying to connect. It's trying to do that. So make sure that you go and use your email address, or you change it to your email address, whatever it is that you used when you first set up your account.
Yeah, and I did do that. I use my email for everything. So
yeah. Send me a DM and I'll send them your information, and just to have them check on it. But last time I asked, several times that I've asked the same thing for people, they came back with, it takes a little while. Once it starts clicking, it'll show. And everybody so far has started to show up. Is there anybody else that's been pending for more than a week and still pending? Because once they start distributing, then it's like every day distributing after that.
Yeah, mine's been pending for the same amount of time also.
Okay. Send me a DM if you're concerned about it. If not, I mean, if the fact that it's pending means that all systems are recognizing your the server. Now, what you want to do also is go log into, make sure this, guys, this is important, because if it's pending but nothing's distributing, well, it would only be pending for so long. But let me just show you this. You want to go log into your simple server as well. Let me refresh and make sure that they're all active. See, I have 20 nodes, 20 licenses, 20 active. Okay. But if this says 6 active and there's 20 nodes, but only 6 active, or 20 nodes with 0 active, that means that the server has stopped, minting. So you need to contact Simple, not Kyvo. You need to contact this. So you would go to support here. You could also, just while you're waiting, go to support and ask them, how long does it take for your distribution to go active in your wallet? And they might respond to you. But if they're showing up in Kyvo, then they are connected. And the fact that it's pending means that everything seems to be working, but just make sure they're active in here. Okay. And then send me a DM and I'll check on it for you, whoever's having any issues.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Cindy, yeah, lots of us. Yeah, it's not simple. It's Optio. I don't know if it's Optio. I mean, mine are distributing every day. Some people also didn't follow exact instructions and maybe did things differently. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's the reason, but you can check with Kaivo. But every time I tell Billy, they're like, how long? Yeah, it could take a week to 10 days. You know, first he said 5 days, then he said a week, and then he does a week to 10 days. So just give it a couple more days. And if not, either way, you can DM me and I'll send them your information and have them check on it. But I would say that, it shouldn't take no longer than 10 days. Keith said they have said it takes 7 to 10 days, but they just had an upgrade for both Kaivo and Simple a couple of days ago. So yeah, that could have delayed things a little bit. All right, guys, I got to run. Have a great rest of your weekend. I might go live sometime over the weekend. If I see anything happening, I will either send a video or maybe put an announcement to go live if we have a breakout, because the breakout of this downward trending resistance line could be big if it moves fast, if it breaks out. But if not, we could just wind into it going into Sunday, maybe dip a little lower. But if we get below the floor, then we're looking at more dumping coming into the holiday. But this is a setup for a big breakout, in my opinion. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you in a couple of days. I'll see you on Monday and possibly tomorrow. If I see anything happening, I'll go live. Peace.